Now it's time for Reading is Magic. Today we have a holiday story called Santa's Snowcat by Sue Stainton and Anne Mortimer. Let's read. Santa's Snowcat. Santa's favorite cat was the color of snow. She would hide in the snowdrifts and be invisible to the world. Even the north wind and the big lemon moon, who lit up the winter sky, never guessed she was there, and they knew almost everything. She would hide in Santa's beard, nestle up, and keep warm during the cold Arctic nights. She would snuggle and purr deep in his coat pockets and stow away on mysterious journeys. It was her secret. There she is in his beard, all wrapped up in his beard. There's his nose and his mouth. Looks like a warm and cozy place to be. Santa called her Snowcat, but this whitest of cats had the greenest of eyes, and in the moonlight her eyes would gleam, the color of jade. That was just how the north wind found out about his new playmate. It was the coldest of winter nights. The north wind had blown snow into a kaleidoscope of patterns and decked the land with necklaces of icicles, which the big lemon moon turned into diamonds. The north wind was bored, but suddenly he heard a swish in the snow and saw two jewel-green eyes shining in the light of the lemon moon. He spiraled gently and whooshed with delight. Snowcat danced. Together they whirled and they twirled, and the lemon moon watched and lit up the night. It was the night before Christmas, and the lemon moon knew that it was time for a magical journey. So he lit the way for Snowcat to go home. The north wind huffed just a little and watched as she went into the icy, snowy house. Secretly, Snowcat found the red, snuggly, cuddly coat and crawled into a big, warm, furry pocket. Santa laughed a great, happy laugh as he flung on his coat. "It's the night before Christmas!" Santa shouted. In a jingle of bells and a flurry of snow, they swished into the air. Santa reached into his pocket for a mitten and found his Snowcat. He pretended to be annoyed, but then he laughed. There she is. In a magical moment, Snowcat balanced on Santa's fat red knee as she looked down on a white carpet of frosted ice sculptures sparkling in the moonlight, splattered with twinkling, winkling lights. In a second, she was up so high, looking down at frozen seas studded with great icebergs the size of cathedrals. The lemon moon lit the way. The north wind swirled around. It all took Snowcat's breath away. A moment later, a mass of colored lights spiraled into a maze beneath her. Snowcat shook her freezing whiskers and excitedly looked a little closer at the pattern of lights far below. She was enchanted. She twitched her nose and wondered what life was like down there. But then she leaned too far and she fell. Santa's big mittens tried to catch her. The north wind tried to cushion her. The lemon moon closed his eyes. But Snowcat, she still fell, tumbling, twisting, and turning towards the lights below. The north wind carried Santa's words down to her. "Snowcat, Snowcat, my favorite cat, I will find you." There she is. Snowcat wondered where she'd landed. There were strange noises, flashing, brightly colored lights, new smells, people chattering, traffic clanking, and hustle and bustle everywhere. She wanted to hide. She had heard the cry and knew that Santa would be looking for her. "My Santa, I must find you," she thought. Snowcat trudged gingerly up the white street. Nimbly, she dodged people's feet. So many people. So many shoes. So many different types of shoes. Some people spoke. "Hey, pussycat," they said, but like quicksilver, she avoided them. Now Snowcat looked up, and towering above her were huge, tall buildings embossed with yellow lights that reached forever towards the starry, inky sky. Large snowflakes fell all around, but she couldn't see the lemon moon or hear the north wind. There's the moon, though. Suddenly she raced ahead to find herself nose to nose with Santa. Something was wrong. A nearly Santa, cold and bright, swinging slightly, beckoned her to a brightly lit store. Windows full of shimmering gold and silver swam before her eyes. It wasn't her Santa. Despondently she moved on. Her paws were cold, her whiskers frozen. I think he was a toy Santa. Echoing Christmas carols reached the confused ears of Snowcat. She heard singing and calling, but when she looked up, her eyes were glazed with flashing colors. She focused on a Santa all made of bright lights who was singing, "Ho, ho, ho!" It wasn't her Santa. Now it was snowing thickly. And where was the north wind? The lemon moon was hiding, and it seemed that even the stars were asleep. Surely her Santa could not be far away. Ahead, laughing a large, jolly laugh in the shadow of a tall, sparkling tree, was the red figure at last. He hurtled towards them and jumped onto the well-loved knee. But the knee was bony, the voice angry. This was not her Santa. She jumped down, tumbling piles of parcels and trailing tinsel, and ran from the nearly Santa. Surely her Santa could not be far away. The night grew still as she waded through the new snow. People were busily disappearing into doorways. Snowcat was desperate. Then, as she passed an old wooden door, decorated with mistletoe and hollyberries, she heard a familiar "Ho, ho, ho!" and wearily she squeezed in through the chink in the doorway. The house was warm, and she followed the noise. Notes of festive music wafted in the air, and the scent of pine needles and oranges was everywhere. As Snowcat turned a corner, she had another shock. A smiling Santa was looking out from the flickering screen. Another nearly Santa. Frightened, she turned quickly and gently knocked the glittering tree. It twinkled, just as though it were laughing at her. Snowcat looked up, and a glass ball fell between her paws. She looked again and saw the glass ball was yet another nearly Santa, shining and smiling at her. Snowcat sank to the ground. She'd given up. She slept with the littlest Santa between her paws. It was not until much, much later that she awoke. She was now sure that her Santa had forgotten her. See the little other nearly Santa in her feet. She's by the fireplace. I think she's in the right place. If only Snowcat had known that Santa and his sleigh had spiraled down wildly after her and had landed on the tallest of tall buildings. Santa was still searching, along with the north wind and the big lemon moon. There he is climbing up the building, and there's his sleigh. Oh my goodness, he's on the Chrysler building now. I don't think she's up there. Snowcat awoke in the nighttime glint of the Christmas lights. The house was so quiet, so still, her ears twitched and picked up a sound far away. Then her whiskers twitched, then her nose twitched. A moment later, to a sound of clumping and guffawing, she was looking at big, black, snowy boots and up at a fat, snuggly, cuddly coat. And was that her big, warm, furry pocket? Could it be Santa? "Snowcat, my best present ever," Santa whispered. He scooped her up and laughed his great jolly laugh. That night, the north wind blew a homeward path in the falling snow for Santa and his favorite cat. Since that Christmas, Santa always travels with his Snowcat, and sometimes, even now, they are glimpsed on one of the tallest of tall buildings. There she is. Well, let's see what we have in our magic bag today. I have something red. Ah, a bicycle. It's a Christmas ornament for a tree. How fun. Well, you have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please support Reading is Magic by clicking subscribe, the red button below. It's free. Also, please comment, like, or share with your friends. And thanks for watching Reading is Magic.